and welcome to episode number 6 of the Mad About You podcast. My name is Madeline and I will be your host for today. It is a Saturday afternoon in Sydney on the 11th of August and I've had a pretty good day this morning so far, I guess. Did some housework, woke up, actually did some knitting, which was really good. But anyway, this is a video podcast about knitting, sometimes some crochet. I've said that and not shown any crochet projects on the show as of yet. And occasionally some sewing. So yeah, that's what this is about. If you think you'll be interested, have a watch. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and listening to my nattering about all things craft for the last few episodes, and I hope that you'll enjoy what I've got today. So I'm on a squeaky chair and in a different part of my house, mostly based on the lighting. I should have done a time lapse of me trying to figure out the best place for the light for this part of the afternoon. But that's okay. And yeah, sorry, I'm on my phone and I just got an Instagram notification. Anyway, distract me. I've got a few things to talk about today. Not a whole lot of knitting. Actually, I've done quite a bit of knitting, but only on one project. So no finished objects today, and I've just realised I'm not wearing any knitwear other than my knitter shirt from Stitches Tees. Again, so this is the second time I've worn this in the podcast, and while it's getting a little bit warmer and I haven't had any heating on, but I haven't had any aircon on in my house, it's a bit warm for knitwear, and to be honest, I forgot today. But anyway, so I guess that's enough rambling, and I will go on to my works in progress. So the first one I want to show today is something that I've called my snow sock project. So I'm an avid skier, not an excellent skier, but a pretty good one, enough to not get myself in trouble too often. And so this year I decided to make a pair of socks, or cast on a pair of socks, and only knit on them on the way to the snow from my house, which is about 2.5 hours drive from the ski fields, which are closest to where we live, or that we like to go to, and in the vicinity of the snow. So itchy nose, sorry. So the yarn I've used is the Three Mums yarn. I have mentioned it every time I've shown these on the podcast, but they're a local yarn dyeing company, Three Mums, and the yarn's really beautiful to work with. So this is the second pair of socks I'm actually using their yarn for, but I have used, and I'm still, actually that's a work in progress, but I haven't done anything on it, so I won't show you today. But anyway, without further ado, the socks. So this is what I've managed. I probably should have weighed them actually, or at least counted how many rows I've done, but I'm knitting them 2 at a time magic loop, as you can see, and they're being knit on high sharps in the 2.5 millimeter needles. So high sharps and Chargu are my favourites for 2 at a time. So I'm really actually liking how this stitch pattern is, how the yarn is going. So this was a mini skein I had bought from them last year and never used, and I thought the colour went quite well. And then I've chosen some other mini skeins for heels and the toes, and I've just dropped one. It's a really nice pale pink in this other one here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and I think I'm not sure if I'll end up at the snow again this year, so I'm probably going to have to finish them not at the snow. That being said, my husband and I are thinking of taking a trip to Japan over the Christmas break, so maybe I will hold off and see if I can get some done if we do end up going over there. If not, I'll just be finishing these ones off because I want to wear them too much. So anyway, Three Mums yarn, and this is what I've done. So, if I put the two together, it's probably the length of a leg that I would like. I did a 16 row cuff, which I've been doing 20 mostly, or the last few pairs of socks I've knit. Mina Phillip does a 20 row cuff, but I kind of wanted to use this colour for the toes as well, I thought. So, and I did it was still a 2x2, but I did a German twisted cast on because apparently that's really good for socks, which is a bit more stretchy. That's these ones, and I've really enjoyed making them so far, and they're in my, it's a little project bag I made when I first bought my sewing machine. So it doesn't even have my little Mad About You tags on it, because I don't think I owned those then when I bought this. But anyway, I've really liked, it's a good little sock size project bag. And then my next work in progress, which has taken up the majority of my time, actually all of my knitting time to be honest, is the Radiate Shawl by Joji Locatelli. So it's a pullover, not a shawl, and that's this one here. And I've done quite well, I think. So the yoke, or that the top section, is made in three. So you have the neckband, section 1, 2, and then 3, and in sections 1, 2, and 3 is when you do your increases. Sorry, and so I've just finished section 2, and I'm on to section 3, which section 3 I'll increase another 100 stitches, and then that will be good to go. So yeah, I can't tell what's reflection. This is reflecting onto my phone, and I can't tell what the light is, but yeah, that's this one here so far. So I actually need to put it on bigger needles so that I can try it on, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, okay, it needs bigger needles. I'm really liking how these colours, like I don't think I would necessarily usually wear this mint green so close to my face, but the yarn is We Love Knitting, which is an Australian based hand dyer in Melbourne, Australia. So I've mentioned a couple of times that I've had this green for a long time. I bought an extra skein, then I bought a couple skeins of this marble colour, so I'm alternating at the moment actually, and that's what I've got left of this first colour. But that being said, I did a swatch and I don't have it, I've put it away. I swatched twice. The second swatch I have kept, which should be in this little, no, it's in my bigger Finch bag. Anyway, so I've kept the second swatch, and the first one I did a really large swatch, so I think I might pull that one out, but it's the prettiest one. And I'm trying to keep my swatches now, so anyway, I'm a bit conflicted, but I think I'll be all right. But yeah, as you can, I can see, hopefully you can see, they're very, you can tell I bought them in 3 different dye lots, I guess, which is really risky to do for hand dyed yarn for a garment. So look, I'm a bit silly, but I had them and I didn't want them to go to waste, and I didn't know if anyone else would buy them if I tried to sell them on because of, you know, whatever, same thing. So I've been alternating every row, which you can probably see a little bit of here. Actually, it's best if I show you the inside. You can definitely tell some of the grey stripes are darker than the others. And I've just been carrying the yarn. You can't really see because the needle stoppers are in the wrong spot, but yeah, I've just been carrying the yarn up here, which that row is actually quite a bit looser, which usually isn't my problem. With the last round, the last stitch before you join or start the next round is much looser, and then the first of each colour is actually quite tight. So anyway, whatever. It's my first me size jumper. It's my first anything other than a straight, you know, standard raglan jumper. So yeah, I've got a nice little rat's tail going at the moment. I've found these scrunchies, and I wore scrunchies in my childhood, so found them at Kmart I think the other day, and I've bought them and been wearing them. Yeah, a little bit reminiscent, but they're fun and a little bit bright, so why not? Anyway, sidetrack, sorry. And there goes the rat's tail again. So yeah, I'm enjoying how this is knitting up. I swatched Continental, which is like picking, or you hold the yarn and in your left hand and then you pick. Anyway, there's plenty of tutorials, or if you're on Instagram and you search the hashtag Continental Knitting, you'll probably see. So anyway, I might have run into a problem. I swatched Continental because that's how I intend on knitting the whole of the body. But this stitch pattern is pretty much like, it's knit and purl and slip. And my pearls are just not real good Continental, which I know I need to practice to get better. But I didn't do it. So I've knit all of this pretty much English style, or well, I'm a flicker. Silly names. So yeah, when I get to the stockinette section, which is after section 3, which I'm really not looking forward to section 3. It's going to be a big one. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to switch to Continental. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. Like I said, you can see I put some short rows in the back to raise that up, and there's more short rows in the pattern. So I think the colours were working well together. Like I said, I probably wouldn't choose these colours again, but I think it'll be really interesting, and it's not, I guess, as high contrast as the pink and the grey. And Hannah from Circus Tonic Handmade has a really lovely Radiate, which is quite similar colours to Hohi, but it's her own yarn, and it's really high contrast. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, it's no matter if it doesn't write. So yeah, and that's all I've been knitting on. So I actually, where was I last weekend? Was I here? Or was I? No, I was in Canberra. Yeah. Yeah, so I've done most of this in a week, or probably 10 days. Pretty good, I think. And that included some sock knitting on my snow socks, because we did go to the snow. So yeah, anyway, it's living in my Fringe Field Supply Company bag. And I've got some exciting things to talk about. So I've been watching a few other podcasts, and a few people are saying that they're not super keen on the whole like acquisitions and kind of showing off, because people who watch mightn't have the same budget as you, and I really understand that. And yeah, so we're going to move into a little acquisition segment, but it's not trying to be a showy, look what I bought. Well, it is kind of show and tell. Yeah, so I'm kind of putting myself on, not a yarn ban, because I don't like that, and I have a Knit Picks order coming, but I'm being more intentional with things that I buy, with the exception of a few things. I'm just going to have a quick cup of tea, drink of tea. Talking so much. So yeah, anyway, I splurged on a few things. So you can see here, oh, it's going to blow out. No, maybe not. It's a yarn hoarder pin. If I take my face out the way, maybe that'll focus. Actually, there's 2 pins. So Amber of Yarn Hoarder Podcast is one of my favourite podcasts. She's a total enabler, and really, really lovely lady from what I can tell. So yeah, anyway, she has enamel pins because they're all the craze, and I bought a few from Knit Picks, and I was not sure how to display them because I put them on this bag and it just seemed weird, and I only had maybe 2, and everyone who's kind of buying into that phase has got so many, and they're not exactly cheap. But then Amber had some when they came out on Etsy, and I had to buy them. So the postage was more than the pins, but I knew that, and I bought it anyway. So yeah, and then I wrote a little note on there to Amber that said, you know, I love your podcast, thank you so much for what you do, and she wrote me back saying thank you and whatever. So yeah, I'll see if I can get my face out. This one's my favourite. I don't know if this is helping at all, but it just says Yarn Hoarder, and it's got glitter behind it, and you know, sometimes you just have to make a frivolous purchase, and that one was one. So yeah, and then the Grocery Girls also released a pin. And postage from Canada, which is the same, is far cheaper than postage from mainland United States. I don't know. So, and the pin was cheaper, obviously, but well, not obviously. The Canadian and the Australian dollar is very similar in price. So whilst it's still a lot of money to pay for a bloody enamel pin, I am happy that I made that purchase. And then I guess the last, well, 2 things I want to talk about is, after I bought this t-shirt, I had a look at maybe getting some printed with some of my own slogans on, because Yeah, I just thought that might be fun to wear. And anyway, I did some looking into it, and I did get one shirt made, but I think it might become a pajama shirt. I like it. I don't know if it's fit for the podcast. It's a white shirt. It's a little bit thin, but anyway, it's fine. It's good enough for bed. I'll probably wear it to bed. Yeah, 100%. Anyway, whilst I was there, they also, the company's called Vistaprint, and I don't know, I guess they're Australian, but I actually don't know. And they make a number of heaps of things. So anyway, I got this fridge magnet made, and they came in a pack of 10. So it says Mad About You, knit all year long, which is my thing now, I think. I'm a knitter with a capital K, like I've said a few times before, a lifestyle knitter, blah, blah, blah. There's more days that I do knit than I don't, even if it's just a couple of stitches. It's a little bit soul soothing. So anyway, I made this, and I was looking at it today, and it came in a pack of 10, and it was about $7. So my front of my fridge is not magnetic, which I don't understand how that works, but the side is, but it's in a cabinet, so that's no good. But put it on my cabinet at work, which should be anyway, it should be fine. But the actual dates are in black, so if you need glasses, which I do wear glasses, but I mean, I can read this, but I wouldn't want to have to read it over a long period of time. It's not so good, but anyway, whatever. That's just something a little bit fun, and I'm gonna make a few Christmas presents for some crafty friends of mine this year whose birthdays and Christmas are at the same time, so I'll pop one of those in there, and that'll be good. And then the final thing that I have got since I last spoke to you all is a yarn bowl. So I have a yarn bowl that I got for Christmas, and it's wooden, and I've leave that in the other home where my husband lives. And Pickle & Co, who I've mentioned before, put something on Instagram about some like factory seconds essentially that didn't work out in the dyeing process, which are good to be sold as seconds but not as normal stock. So I couldn't resist this one. So there's a few, you can tell maybe the glaze isn't as thick at certain parts as it should be, but I haven't had a problem, and I've used it on my jumper, so that's been good. And then that's her little stamp on the back, and I'm petrified that I'm going to drop it because it's quite heavy. I mean, I knew that when I got it posted, but then it came and it was bigger than I expected, so that's awesome. I could probably actually fit two of those DK weight skeins in there for my jumper, so that's wicked. So it's Marnie who makes those, and I'm just put that down, and I'll just show you her card. So she's Pickle & Co fibers, and she dyed the yarn that I made my flax light out of for future baby me. And yeah, so it's cute, 2 little cards. Oh, and that's her details, save me typing them on the screen. I think that looks pretty clear. So I don't have much content, and I guess I've rambled on a bit. So I would just like to finish off with my favourite things. And I've been thinking about things that I have that I really enjoy. So one of my favourite books about knitting that I've got is this one here, which is A Stash of One's Own by Clara Parks. So the back it says Clara Parks presents a heartwarming anthology of stories that celebrate yarn. Specifically, the knitter's reputation for acquiring it in large quantities is storing away in what's lovingly referred to as a stash. As a stash. So it's a collection of small essays from people such as Susan B. Anderson, Kay Gardner, who's of Mason-Dixon Knitting, Lilith Green, Amy Herzog, Anna Maltz, Meg Swanson, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, whose other book I've got just sitting up there. Heaps of other people. So Clara Parks is the author of 5 books on yarn and knitting, including Knitlandia, which is a New York Times bestseller. So if you don't already follow Clara Parks on Instagram, and you have Instagram, you should follow her because she's really funny and travels a lot, and you get to see a lot of things. And so she gathers tales from 22 knitters and examines a subject that's irresistible to us all, the yarn stash. Anyone with a passion has a stash, whether it's a collection of books or enough yarn to exceed several life expectancies. With her trademark wry, witty approach, Parks brings together fascinating stories from all facets of stash keeping and knitting life. Whether yarn is stash is muse, memento, creative companion, career guide, or lifeline in tough times. I'm doing so well today. These deeply engaging stories take a surprising and fascinating look at why we collect, what we cherish, and how we let go. So I haven't read every single one of these, but I bought this book I think at the end of last year, and I took it on my Christmas holiday that I took. And yeah, I really like it. I know some local libraries, I actually don't know if in Australia, but I've heard of people in the States borrowing it out from the local library, so that might be a way to get your hands on some of Clara's books. Actually, this is the only one I've read. I really want to read Knitlandia, but I'm on a book buying ban and my local library doesn't have it. So at some point in time I will read Knitlandia. Yeah, so that's all I have time for today. Well, actually that's not true. I have time to talk to you for many, many more hours. I just have nothing else to talk about. So yeah, if you would like to follow me online in other places, I'm at mad.about.you, as it's spelt just there, on Instagram, and I'm Madbell on Ravelry. And if there's anything, well, not so much this episode, but other episodes you've seen that I make, I'll usually have some decent notes on Ravelry if I've made any alterations to the pattern, alterations to the patterns, and whatnot. And yeah, just like to keep a track of what I made. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today. Whenever you watch this, have a great little period of time till I see you next, probably in about 2 weeks. Yeah, never stop knitting. Bye.